So welcome. This place over 60, almost 60 years, my home. So on that background, I want to express welcome. Then I think you already know. Recently, I thought I have some commitment. I can do something. So number one commitment, I consider I am one of the human beings on this planet. The other planet, we cannot do anything. Even within this planet, only human being, which we can communicate. Same human brain. So number one, on that level, I am trying to warm-hearted, compassionate humanity. Main reason, some scientists say basic human nature is more compassionate because we are social animal. Any social animal, the sense of concern, the community, because individual survival entirely depend on the community. So we are social animal. Each individual human being, from the beginning, as soon as we're born, you see, without mother's affection, then some other people sort of also they taking care, we can't survive. So therefore, basically, our nature is more compassionate. It is very logical. Now, in the terms of community, ancient time, firstly family, then small community. Now, today's modern world, the modern sort of the economy, there's no national boundary. Everything interdependent. And then, through technology, these things, the whole world, something like one human community. So I'm trying to promote a more compassionate mind, compassionate humanity. Not necessarily something holy, but selfish reason. Everybody, including animal, take care themselves. So we human being, in order to develop individual, happy human being, very much related with our emotion. So more compassionate mind, altruism. You see, that person, then entire human being, you see, can be something positive if we have practice of altruism, and the whole phenomena appears something positive. Too much self-centered, selfish. Then, you see, almost whole phenomena appears something negative. So therefore, altruism is the key factor to bring inner peace. less stress, less anxiety. Some news, CNN, you see, mentioned American average life because of standard survey. Average 65 or something. So a lot of suicide, a lot of sort of too much drugs. So the material facility, very good there, but lack of mental peace, too much sense of competition and stress, and a lack of altruism, too much self-centered attitude, me. So, as number one, as a human being, I'm trying to make contribution as much as possible to bring deeper knowledge about the ultimate source of happiness is within ourselves. This is number one. Number two, religious harmony. It is really unthinkable. People killing each other in the name of religion. Unthinkable. Just next neighbor in Arab countries, some, and Afghanistan. Name of religion, killing, conflict. So these Muslim Karsachik Siruni, the Taliban or something, I said they love their own religion. I think they, because of the mystic or something lacking, that is the lack of contact with other religious people. Just you think, one religion, one truth. Individual case, yes, one truth, one religion. But in the terms of society, now in the terms of world community, 7 billion human beings, several truth, several religion, it is reality. We must accept that. Then no problem. These Muslim, you see, more contact. Example, Indian Muslim, very open mind. So according as I suggested, the Ladakhi Muslim organize one national level, whole Indian Muslim city, the national level Muslim conference in Delhi. Last year, right? This year. So I suggest to them the religious harmony in this country, marvelous. And I never heard problem or complaint between Shia and Sunni. So India, 1,000 years, all major religious traditions live together, no problem. So Indian not only keep these as a part of our tradition, but now should be active to make some contribution regarding other community where conflict in the name of religion. And this respect, Buddhist and Muslim and Bangladesh, Burma. Few occasions, when I have meeting, the opportunity meeting, the Aung San Suu Kyi, I mentioned, it's quite disgrace. Each Muslim, on their shoulder, the Buddhists should consider one Buddha there, So we must develop genuine mutual respect, harmony among the Muslim and Buddhist. Like in Ladakh, you see, Buddhist, Ladakhi Muslim, very friendly, no problem. I just met the Ladakhi delegation. You see, they mentioned just rest, not how to say invitation here and there. Then jokingly I told them, I have to go Muslim communities lunch because lunch, very delicious lunch. I mentioned. So, you see, it is much better. Keep close relation. Isolate, then unnecessary some sort of distrust. And that brings jealousy and anxiety and anger. So, my number 2 commitment is promotion of religious harmony. I have full confidence. Look, this country, over 2,000, at least 2,000 years, beside India's own homegrown religion, but from outside. Then from outside, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Zoroastrianism come from outside, but live together here. No problem. So India, over 1 billion populated nation, ancient nation, religious harmony, very much alive. So therefore, my number 2 commitment is try to promote religious harmony. And all religion, you see, usually I sort of expressing religion of human being, not animal or not God. Simply, human being created this religion from Buddhist viewpoint. So therefore, since all religion, this religion, human created, so naturally, human being, you see, very much sort of love or human compassion. Therefore, all major religious tradition, the main message is message of love. And with that is forgiveness, tolerance, and self-discipline. That is related with ahimsa and karuna, these things. And then use different philosophy. Some say there is creator, some say no creator. And even within Buddhism, there are different philosophical views. And the Buddha himself made different philosophical teachings. Because among the audience, different mental disposition. So different philosophy is necessary, relevant. So therefore, these different religious philosophy is method to promote, to bring conviction, the deeper value of love, compassion. So no problem. One time in Ladakh, Tortuk Muslim community, they invited me, I went there, and then one public meeting. The local Muslim religious leader, he expressed, as a Muslim, we should extend our love towards entire creature of Allah. That's very true. If we love Allah, then the creature of Allah, we must extend our loving kindness. So, different religion, different philosophy, that's just a method. Main message is same. So that's the basis of religious harmony. So that's my number 2 commitment. Number 3 commitment about Tibet. I'm Tibetan. Many Tibetans trust me. So, but political matter, since 2001, I totally retired. And we already, since then, we already achieved elected political leadership. So he can take, he look after this matter. Now regarding Tibet, my commitment is, number 1, environment. According to some Indian environmentalists, they say the Tibet, firstly, very high altitude. Secondly, a cold climate. So ecology, once damaged, you see, it takes longer period to recover by nature. So we should pay more attention about preserve Tibetan ecology. So I usually see, now that's my, regarding Tibet, my commitment. Then Tibetan culture. Actually, Tibetan culture, we carry the name Tibetan, but actually come from Nalendra. I usually used to telling, you Indian? Any Indian? No Indian? Usually I tell, traditionally, Indians are teacher. We are student. So last, I think, 2,000 years, teachers' area, too much ups and downs. During this period, we Tibet, so our students' land, we sincerely preserved. So sometimes I jokingly telling Indian friend, traditionally you are our teacher, we are student. Now time come, just turn student, still kept all these ancient Indian knowledge, so student become guru, teacher. You are guru's people, guru's lands people, now too much modernized, no pay attention about this knowledge. So, Tibetan knowledge, I think quite well known. Ancient Indian thought, as I already mentioned, non-violence and compassion, over 3,000 years in this country developed. And also meditation, single-pointed meditation, and analytical meditation, over 3,000 years in this country developed. So then, 8th century, Tibetan king, I think 7th century, Tibetan king married, through marriage, Chinese emperors, sort of princess. So I think first Buddhist sort of also because introduced Buddhism, I think through that way. But then 8th century, the Tibetan king, he preferred Buddhism not through China, but should bring directly from India, from Nalendra. So 8th century, around that period, the top master of Nalendra, Chandrarakshita, great scholar, great logician, and monk. So he invited, in spite of his old age, he accepted, come to Tibet. He advised Tibetan king, since 7th century, you already have your own language, your own script. So now, instead of study Sanskrit or Pali, you should start translation. Then you should study these Buddhist teaching, Nalendra tradition, through your own language. So now today, the Tibetan language is the most closest language with Sanskrit. Before translation started, Tibetan language very primitive. Then translation started. Each new word come from Sanskrit or Pali, then Tibetan, then translator create new word. So today, Tibetan language is the most closest to it, Sanskrit sort of language. So I really feel worthwhile our knowledge. And also, it become very clear, Tibetan language is the, I think, best language to explain Buddhist psychology, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist the logic, because it's a translation, very close. So therefore, Tibetan knowledge with Tibetan language, I feel really worthwhile preserve. Some Chinese hardliner, very narrow-minded. So some, even if it's some control, study Tibetan language. These are short-sighted. Okay, doesn't matter. So my commitment is try to preserve Tibetan, including Tibetan language and these ancient Indian knowledge which we kept over 2,000 years. Marwe, lo nyi tong ka. Oh, 1300, right? Like that. So that's my commitment regarding Tibet. And then my fourth commitment, that is try to revival of these ancient Indian knowledge in modern India. Modern India, I think they much neglected about ancient Indian knowledge. The modern Indian, say, since British introduced modern education, so India is very much sort of also they pay attention for modern education. These ancient Indian knowledge, I think, much neglected. So now I am trying to tell them ancient Indian knowledge, which is related with our emotion, our mind. That is now modern time very necessary. Now a lot of problem which we are facing is essentially our own creation. Mentally, you see, I say too much, ultimately too much sort of emphasis, we and they, including different religious faith. So look, 20th century, First World War, Second World War, and then making nuclear weapon. All these is on the basis of too much self-centered attitude and lack of respect other. The lacking sense of world human community. So now, these days, I always is telling we human beings, we need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. That's the key thing. I think we should return, although our age now, for me now, 84 years. So most of you about 40, 50, like that. So now this body like that, but our mind should go back when we were children. We are not thinking too much, we and they. Play together. So long smiling each other, then we never thought what others' nationality, what others' religious faith, isn't it? Children, one time in Switzerland, Pestalozzi, there are different sort of, home, different community. One Palestine home, next home, Jews, Jewish home. They play together. So I think our mind must go back that level. Not too much sort of emphasis, we and they. Different nationality, different religious faith. No, that's secondary. Most important is we are same human being. So I try to revival these ancient Indian thought, ahimsa, non-violence, and karuna, compassion. This is meant for humanity. And then Indian ahimsa, according to ahimsa, vegetarianism, very strong in this country. So now in different parts of the world, more and more people, including some scientists, now showing more sort of emphasis, vegetarianism. It's very good. So that's my fourth commitment, revival of ancient Indian knowledge. Not through prayer, not through ritual, but through education. Now in our kindergarten level, while we teach hygiene of physical, we should teach hygiene of emotion, must go together. Hygiene of physical, the physical health. Then hygiene of emotion is mental health. From kindergarten level up to university level, these two things I think should combine. Education about material thing and including our own physical health. And meantime, education about mind, about emotion, how to keep peace of mind and how to tackle anger, fear, jealousy, these things. According to Indian tradition, secular way, not religious, not religious with religion, just secular way. So these are my report to another human brothers, sisters. So now some question and answer. Yes. Sit down.
Rinpoche Chok.
Louder.
Louder. Okay.
Oh.
Gewa Rinpoche Chok ne Dharamsala la yongwa dang peke jangwa de keranki kajing impe tukjeche shuguyu. Injeke.
One story. Of course, my teacher, one Ladakhi, once after he spoke one big meeting, Tibetans thought he spoke Ladakhi. Then Ladakhi felt he spoke Tibetan. So like, because your language, I don't know. But the Tibetan, so.
Okay, maybe I speak English then.
I think better.
Okay.
Oh.
Ne Dharamsala la yongwa dang peke jangya de keranki kajin nimpe tukjeche shuguye. Ani ngatso lo.
I think English better.
Okay.
Can hear.
Okay, so I'm very, very thankful for your kindness, for me coming to Dharamsala and learning Tibetan. If it wasn't you, I wouldn't have come. And we're finishing our program next year. So with you having an omniscient mind, I would like to hear your advice. When we finish school, in your opinion, your wish, what would be the best and the best beneficial thing for me to do for myself and other people? Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, and all the translation from mainly Sanskrit and some Pali, so altogether 300 volumes. Buddha's own teaching, about 100 volumes. Then the Nalendra masters, their sort of commentary, they are writing altogether about 200 volumes. So now, since many years, I notice, you see, about 300 volumes, the content, judging according to content, we can make 3 parts. Number 1, science, mainly science of mind. And then 2nd, philosophy. Then 3rd, religion. So religion for Buddhist. The psychology and the logic and science of mind, these things are academic subject. Whether believer or non-believer, believe this religion or that religion, even anti-religion, is relevant study logic and psychology, these things. So therefore, I really appreciate your interest, and you not only interest, but you try to learn Tibetan. Very good. Like my broken English, your broken Tibetan, but quite useful. So therefore, now, after you finish, and then since you already know Tibetan, so now should take advantage. My suggestion, religious book, something different, but science of mind, I think we have a lot of sort of explanation or information. So you should start translation about Lurik. Lurikasire.
Mind.
About the psychology, mind. Very helpful. In Western world, when they say mind, only 5 senses of organs, and not much sort of knowledge about the 6th mind. So therefore, as a modern society, like materialistic sort of culture, you always attract seeing something, sports, or music, or taste, and sex. These are sensory level experience. Now, modern psychologists, there are very little knowledge about the 6th mind. 6th mind, very, very vast. So the important is the destroyer of peace of mind come with 6th mind. And the antidote of these destroyer of peace of mind, like anger, because of the antidote is compassion, forgiveness. These also combined with 6th mind. So when we talk about the 6th mind, it is a very vast subject. So I think worthwhile. as an academic subject, you should translate ludic. Then logical approach. The logic, for that, tagrik.
No, study of logic and reasoning.
Oh. I think you should translate. And firstly, you yourself study. And then translate. I think humanity, need more knowledge about mind, about emotion. Not talking about next life, not talking about heaven, but simply talking how to bring peace of mind. So that's my suggestion. Okay. Next question.
Please pause it.
Hello, my name is Berto Edwards. I'm from Earlham College, and I just wanted to say we're all very grateful to be here with you. I was wondering, how do you separate actions from the actor? Say, for example, if someone's actions make you angry, how do you separate that and maintain compassion towards that person?
Oh, that's quite clear. Action, actor. Actor is concerned, human being. So we need loving kindness towards actor. Then action is concerned, sometimes we need countermeasure to stop. Like Zangpo Chinese hardliner. As an actor, human brothers, sisters, they also need loving kindness. So in our mind, no differences, Tibetan, Chinese, we all brothers, sisters, we all want a happy life. But action is concerned, sometimes we need countermeasures to stop. That also, in our case, through understanding, not through weapon, through understanding. So through dialogue. So, actor is concerned, actually our loving kindness, genuine loving kindness towards enemy, that's genuine loving kindness. Towards your friend is much mixed with attachment. Okay. So loving kindness, for practice of loving kindness, best teacher is your enemy. Try to develop loving kindness towards your enemy. That's genuine loving kindness. I think animal cannot do that. Only we human beings, with this brain, we can do towards enemy. Action sometimes need counter sort of the action. But as an actor, we must keep loving kindness. With that, try to solve this problem through dialogue. So sometimes I describing this 21st century should be century of dialogue. Whenever we find some differences, through talk, not through weapon. Okay.
Tashidek, my name is Evan Saito. I'm also a student at Earlham College in the United States. Your Holiness, a concern that I have for my community in the United States is the issue of political polarization and disunity. Your Holiness, my question for you is, in your experience, what is some advice that you could perhaps give to the younger generation in terms of maintaining unity in difficult times? Thank you.
I think use human wisdom, human intelligence, and look not through one dimension. One dimension, you can't see the whole picture of the whole picture. We must look any event from 3 dimensions. Or even you see from above, from below, four dimension or 5 dimension, like that. Unless you know the reality fully, your action become unrealistic action. So firstly, when you study about the reality, at that time, your mind should be very neutral. Whatever the reality you want to see or to know. So 3, 4 dimensions. Then you get the fuller picture about the reality. Then action become more realistic action. Action through too much emotion, just one-sided. I love this, and then action biased. I do not love this, action unbiased. So creates more trouble. Although try to reduce problem, but because you just look one-sided, and your effort, unrealistic effort. I feel like that. So I think Buddhist Nalanda tradition, we study all different school of thought. That is, you see, in order to know Buddhist philosophy, it is necessary to know non-Buddhist different school of thought study. So similarly, economy field or political field, I think we should firstly our mind more neutral, and then analyze the reality. Then with fuller understanding about the reality, then pursue that method, become realistic method. Okay. One time in Delhi, some Indian, they complained something. And then I told them, oh, you should start demonstration. If you organize demonstration, I will join. One occasion in Delhi. So like that, sometimes demonstration also is useful. With clear picture, not too much emotion, but real sort of reasonable or realistic sort of message. And then nowadays in modern time, I think demonstration also I think useful. Okay, next.
Tashidale. My name is Shani Gernspan, and I'm also from Earlham College in the United States. My question to you is, well, in the past you have mentioned that you're a professional laugher, and so I would like to know what your favorite joke is.
I think generally Tibetan people, I think more jovial. Some Chinese visitors who visit Tibet, they also notice that as a Tibetan generally more jovial, smiling, like that. Then I always was mentioning my first teacher of warm-heartedness or compassion is my mother. She really, I think her children, my brothers, sisters, we all never see mother's angry face. Always smile, very kind. So I think that also, one factor. I sort of grown up with that kind of atmosphere. And then Tibetan generally jovial. Then also is my own practice, altruism. My daily practice, as soon as I wake up, altruism, thinking altruism. So as a result, whole phenomena appears something positive. They 가서 다그트링 껴봐 탐지기 장안로 대신이다니 바로 때려 저도 벌써인지 다들 선민다서 가오리키스. You should translate now.
Would you like to try? Shantideva says that this prayer or this verse where he says, today in the presence of all the Sugatas or the Buddhas, I call upon all sentient beings as my guests for the ultimate achievement of enlightenment, Sugatahood, and in the meantime also the happiness while on the path to that enlightenment.
So as a practitioner, altruism. Sometimes I saw wrathful deities, I feel laughing. The wrathful deities, you see, it indicates there are also some negative force to destroy. No. Entire 7 billion human beings are our mother-centered being. All want happiness. So now, since few years, when I give some blessing,
like in rituals,
some rituals, usually at the beginning,
in certain rituals, like long life ceremonies or initiations, we have the practice of driving away the so-called evil forces.
So since now last few years, I do not practice that. If there is some negative force, some demons there, we should welcome. As our dear friend, should not consider negative and expel. And sometimes I feel over 1,000 years, all Tibetan Lama expel all these negative forces, but not much effective. It is much better. Bring together. Come, welcome. These are sentient beings, want happiness, do not want suffering. So it is our guest, not enemy. Okay, next.
Yes.
Yes, Your Holiness. My name's Nick from Chicago, and I feel a lot of inspiration from Aryatara, and I was wondering if you could give us a few words of how to learn from her compassion in the study of Dharma.
Aryatara.
In the study of Dharma and in life, how we can learn from Tara's compassion.
I think Dara, we should not consider something individual sentient being, no, or sort of individual God or goddess. Dara is the manifestation of Buddha's action. Our Lukuteshvara, Janasi, manifestation of Buddha's compassion. The Manjushri, Buddha's manifestation of wisdom. So these are not individual as deities or something. So Tara, as in Buddha's manifestation of Buddha's action. So we consider with sort of recitation of Tara's mantra, Om Tare Tudare Turi Soha, or Om Tare Tudare Turi Soha. Now that mantra, with that mantra, we can use for long life, and also we can recite that for because of the reduced illness, like that. So even you want the more dollar, they pray to Tara. I want more Tara, more dollar. Kada these tantric different deities, kada Shiva, Gyava, Wang, Chakpo, Tsangwayongdo.
Nice. So, based on the practice of, practices which are based on these tantric deities, through them, what you can achieve are these 4 different, what are called activities: peaceful, extensive, and then wrathful and subjugation.
Then I think, unfortunately, in Tibet, sometimes you see, use this, but sometimes
in Tibet, the tantric practices are used to as a to cast black spell on others, black magic.
So, the
Therefore, it's very important for us to be able to differentiate between the general structure of Buddhism and then the specifically tailored teachings.
The other day also I mentioned the Kansa Gozen Sungsha in Gabrishimu Tangdur She.
So on Saturday, when His Holiness was giving a talk at the Tibetan Buddhist congregation, he mentioned that we have taken so much interest in the specialized teachings, which are specifically taught in the tantric teachings, whereas we have kind of neglected the general teaching of the Buddha.
Without understanding general Buddhist teaching, impossible to practice these kasota tantric practice.
No.
So after I came to India, I think perhaps early in 60s, I suggested all the monastery who carry some of these, also the tantric practice, this is not sufficient. All these monastery should start serious study, and including nuns, they also should study. It's quite clear. Without full knowledge about the Buddha Dharma, including Buddhist philosophy, then just visualize one deity and recite mantra, not much effect. Sometimes with sort of negative emotion, that whole practice can be kasota tipasaya nyakato.
No, could be used to create negative actions.
One Tibetan Lama used to express, I think maybe 2 generations ago,
Yes. So this Lama has said that by reciting the mantras so many times, instead of being able to reduce or your negative emotions, you may wear out your nails.
Oh, so you see, some people who sort of years recite, so their nail something kasota kondu chadito.
No. So because of reciting mantras using the malas so many times, their nails got worn out.
But negative emotion sometimes Yes.
And when you do this kind of tantric practice, for example, 3 years and 3 month practices, sometimes instead of really being able to transform yourself, you could become very haughty.
So since then I asked all monastery should pay more study about the basic Buddhist teaching. And then on top of that, some their ritual, practice of rituals and these things, okay. Without knowing that, and then it easily become like the Hindu rituals, like that. So these different sort of, even sort of, veins and control breathing, these are common. Hindus, Buddhists, same. So differences, the Hinduism meditate or say the soul or self, something completely separate from this body and mind. So it also useful to explain life after life. Body not come from previous life, but the soul, something separate, something independently separate, that same, no beginning, no end. So explanation about rebirth on that viewpoint, very easy. The Buddhist, we should explain the body and mind. Body, mind, both grosser level, more subtle level, innermost subtle level. Innermost subtle level, then the mind, you see also, you see the both body and mind, you see momentarily changing. Therefore, it must, you see, causes. And there are causes, substantial cause and cooperative cause.
Cooperative conditions.
So at the beginning of conceptual, the physical cause, parent, then further goes before also the human body not yet developed. Then just, you see the kasota, we call space particle, no beginning, no end. Whole universe, galaxies come from that particle. Then gradually, one particle combine more sort of particles. Then different shapes, these come. And similarly, the same particle, space particle, some then eventually become the basis of consciousness. But consciousness itself, you see, the
has its own
substantial cause. It should be same nature. So a physical particle never become substantial cause, but cooperative. Similarly, mind also, you see, from a substantial cause must be same nature, consciousness. So through that way, we can explain the subtle mind, no beginning, no end. But easier, the Hindu belief, Atma, is useful. But when Buddhists know separate, independent self, so self is designated on the combination of physical and mind. Both physical and mind grosser, as I mentioned earlier. So therefore, the subtle mind, no beginning, no end. 가지고도 제대로 가래.
근데 그런 지진점만
가.
지진점에
가.
지투지 지진점에 지진점만 때 아주 너무 년轻이
So now, the yoga practice, breathing practice, these are common. Hindus and Buddhists, same. Many years, sometime back, I think at least 10 years, I met some Hindu tantric practitioner at Gorakhpur. You see, when we discuss the many tantric practice, we have same. And for example, yoga practice, these things, and also the chakra, and Chandalini, Kundalini, same. The differences, their whole practice based on concept of Atma. Buddhists, Anatma. That's make differences. Otherwise, you see these tantric practice, similar, like that. And Paul Tukju said here,
So, having had discussions with this Hindu practitioner in Gorakhpur, he's also learned that they also have the practice of projecting your mind out of the body and transferring it into another body.
So now, I emphasizing important to study the general Buddhist concept, including Shunyata and Bodhicitta. That's very important. Then next. Ka. That's all right. So now study is very, very important. We human beings, this brain is something really marvelous. So in order to fully utilize human intelligence, knowledge is very important. Now knowledge, there are 3 levels. First level is knowledge from hearing. There's something you hear or from someone or explain to you, or read book and some understanding, some knowledge. Now on that basis, we must utilize our intelligence. Think, analyze. That brings conviction. Then with conviction, then familiarize, then actual transformation or experience come. So these are have to go according to law of causality. Even Buddha's mind must come with causes, conditions, not come. Kurang nane chodaja peche, and lamaji jari, and lamantinga, Dabadarana, Shuduzan, Lamantigi, Nadama, Tumu use, Ningona, Ninsanga, Changona, San Sanga, Gande Latruchan, Gomiku Sanga, Tama Yusumuri, and it is a military station. Tanga, Yama Tuluni, Lalo station, that 30. Sanji Goma to Yadi, Ningona, Nin Sanja, Sangona, Sanja, Gande Latrujan, and Gomiku Sanja said that the Dick Tabachore, that another Shaya Oyan in some shoes. In a sunny day, Lamajis, Karchung store, Kakebuzusi, and a Lamadi, or that Jura, Nair La Kaya, the Remindus, and a Marbezal Jusun, and a Marba Jen to push Yandua. Dictive Joya to Darling, Gang and Shivste. Then in a shine. That pitches those the sound of it, and sound of it, Damati to Sunche. And Kandachik double tumble pepper it,
So Chetan Milarepa went to one Lama. He actually ran away from his home and went to a Lama. And this Lama told him that and asked for some instructions, spiritual instructions. And then the Lama said, I have certain instructions by which you can become, if you meditate and cultivate the practices within yourself, you could become enlightened. If you do it in the daytime, you can become enlightened in the daytime. If you do cultivate this in night, you can become enlightened in the night. And so before that, Chetan Milarepa, because he had already achieved some kind of a magic, black magic, he thought that, and then the Lama also said that, so for someone who actually has the strong karmic imprints for such practice, he could become enlightened in the day or the night. And so Chetan Milarepa thought that because he had, accomplished, become accomplished in black magic, he thought he must be someone of a very a great capacity, and therefore, without doing any meditation, he just slept. And the next day, when he went to the Lama, and the Lama asked him what kind of experience he had, he said nothing. And so then the Lama said, you are somebody whom I cannot help, so maybe you can go to Marpa. And therefore, Chetan Milarepa went to Marpa Lotsawa, the great translator, and then Marpa, after meeting him, Chetan Milarepa had to go through all those hardships, and suffered a lot under the tutorship of and tutelage of the Marpa. And then finally he was able to purify himself, and Marpa also, Marpa Lotsawa also gave him lots of instructions, and particularly maybe instructions which came from Goya Samaja Tantra. And so by following those called instructions and practicing day and night, finally Chetan Milarepa became very highly realized.
I think 3 days ago, so one morning, I have very clear dream. First, Marpa, then his teacher Naropa, and his teacher Telopa, then the Guisamanta. Sev.
So His Holiness had this dream of Goya Samaja and deity, and it was a very vivid dream.
Okay. Now, picture.